everyone, we're the Stitch Sisters.
Hiya.
And the video that we're bringing you today is all about PDF patterns. Because if you, like us, are a little bit too impatient to wait for the
postman
official copy, yes, the printed version of a pattern.
Yeah.
If you have things pop into your head randomly and go, oh, I need to make that now, then the great thing about a PDF pattern is that you can download it immediately.
Yes.
So we thought that we would talk you through our way of doing it, because obviously I'm sure everyone's got their own method for actually piecing them together. But I know that for some people it is considered a real pain in the backside. And it does kind of put them off. So one of the first tips that I will give you for PDF patterns is that they are often big files. They can be as many as 70 pages for a single pattern.
Yeah.
And you think, what? I'm just making a top? That can't possibly be that many pages. So it's really important to actually have a look through the pattern itself before you print it off, because what you'll find is that there are different variations within the same pattern.
Yes, so you don't necessarily need all of them.
You don't need to print them all off, but if you have a good look through the documentation, then you actually see which pages you need to print out for the size and the variation that you are making, and that can obviously save on your printing costs.
Yeah.
The other thing that we do all the time, which is definitely worth looking out for, is that some printers, including ours, default to double-sided printing on larger documents.
Yeah.
And the amount of times that we have started printing a document and then gone, it's doing two sides, which clearly on a pattern is no good. You need them both to be, you need all pieces to be single-sided so that you can piece them together.
When you're printing it, you need to always make sure you're printing it at 100%.
Yes.
So
that's
sometimes
another thing that happens all
and I
the
don't
time.
know why, but the printer seems to default. It's never at 100%. It's either at 92 or 107%.
What it does is it fits the page to the screen.
Yes.
And whatever percentage that is,
it decides that's what you want. But obviously you don't want to print it at 92% because otherwise it won't fit you. So you always have to go in and change that little box to 100%.
Yes. And most patterns will also have a size guide as well to make sure that you've printed it at the right size. So there'll usually be a 1 inch or sometimes 3 inch or sometimes 5 centimetre. They all work differently, but there will be a little box on there, and that's your test page, and that is to allow you to print that page, to measure that little box with your ruler. So here we go. This is a Seamworks one. So the test square is quite big on those. Are they 4 inches? Yeah. 4 inches. So you print off just that first page, and then you can get your ruler out and make sure that is exactly 4 inches. It does need to be exact, otherwise the size is not going to be right. And assuming that's the case, then you can go ahead and print off the rest of your document. But it's a good example of what you're looking for. So what you will find is that all of the pages will come with a border around them. And usually have some kind of notch. So you can see these notches here. They're not pattern notches. They are notches to allow you to join up your pattern pages. So if I show you the next page, which, so you can see that these pages will fit together and these notches will line up. But this border around the outside needs to be cut off on one of the pieces. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to overlap them and fit them together nicely. But before we get to the cutting and the fitting together, there will be numbers on the page. Now these are just each page is numbered. That's the way Seamworks do it. But some of the pattern companies actually use a number and letter system. So the rows might be A, B, C, and the columns might be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this might be 1A, so that joins to 1A, but down here it joins to 2A, because that's the second row. And so what you'll find is you'll have little symbols, letters and numbers, and they need to match up with their corresponding piece. But that's where the tiled diagram can help, if you actually have a look at that on the computer before you print it off, because then you know, okay, well, pages 1 to 10 is row 1, and then 11 to 20 is row 2, or it might be that 1A through F is row 1 and 2A through F is row 2. But figure out your rows first of all, because the first thing that you want to do is actually sort them into rows. And then what you need to do is to cut 2 of the edges off on all of the pieces that are in that row. Now, I personally always go for the right side and the bottom, just because I've been doing it so long that's what I automatically default to.
That's what I do as well.
You could do the left and the top. It wouldn't really make any difference. But the reason you're cutting 2 sides off is so that you've got a way of overlapping them lengthways, but you've also got a way of overlapping them widthways
as well. The other way.
Yes, the other way. So you want to cut 2 edges off.
Yeah.
Some people do that with scissors. Some people do it with a guillotine. Some people cut each page individually. I wouldn't recommend that. Yes, so the preferred way of doing it is to use a rotary cutter. So I have a rotary cutter that I just keep for paper. And what that allows me to do is lay this onto my self-healing board. And using a ruler, a quilting ruler, I can just shave off the whole of the row, all of the pages in that row at the same time, and I can do that on the top and I can do that on the bottom.
Yeah.
Then you've got to stick them together, and you are usually going to be either a tape girl or a Pritt stick girl. There are different glues that you can use, and some people have different ways altogether. Some people staple. Personally, I don't like that because
it could catch the fabric. I think.
Now, personally, Nikki has chunky Pritt sticks. My preferred method,
everything I have is chunky.
Is I like a skinny Pritt stick. This is a fabric stick, but it just gives you an idea of scale. The reason that I like these ones, this is my top tip, is that when you're applying the glue, the Pritt stick fits in the border. So I can...
The small one.
The small border that I'm going to overlap. So I can run the Pritt stick the whole way down that border, and I don't have to worry about having to hold a big one at an angle to make sure I'm not getting glue in areas I don't want it. One of the reasons I like the glue stick is because they are then repositionable. So if when you stick it down, it's not quite right, you haven't quite lined up your notches. If you move it quickly, it hasn't actually dried yet, so it's easy to reposition. There are other glues. I remember Sarah from Like So Amazing telling us recently about this new little Yoo-hoo stick that she's been using, which has got a tiny little, it looks like super glue, but it is repositionable. So that's another one that you could possibly try. I'll see if I can find a link to it and pop it in the comments below.
But whatever works, to be honest.
Whatever works for you.
Whatever
makes. So there are top tips up until this point. So the first thing to do is to check which pages you need to print off. You don't need to print them all.
No.
Sort them into rows so that you can cut them all at the same time. Cut the same 2 edges off of all of your pieces so that you can fit them together. And then finally, find your preferred way of sticking them together. Tape or glue.
Clear the table.
Clear the table so you've got lots of room.
Any cups or anything
or the floor.
Like that.
Sometimes they're big enough you need the floor.
Yeah, absolutely.
But another thing we've been doing recently, which is even better, we love this, is we have been sending off our patterns. So a lot of the pattern companies do copy shop versions of the pattern, which are usually A0.
It's my lightsaber.
I wish I had one.
I've got one. So they come like this. They come printed on massive
A0 sheets. So obviously there's fewer of them, and there's no gluing or sticking or cutting to do. You've still got to cut around your pattern pieces, but should we open it up?
Unroll it.
So these are we've both ordered ginger jeans recently from Closet Case, but we needed to get different patterns because I'm doing the high-waisted ones and Nikki's doing the mid-rise ones. But as you can see, giant pieces
already
pieced
together in giant pieces. So what you will need for this one is when you download your pattern from your indie designer, when it comes through, you'll have your instruction booklets and you'll have your pattern piece or your pattern document to print at home, and it's sometimes called a print at home version. And then if it's got a copy shop version
or it might say A0,
then you know that you can use an external copier to go and get them printed on these big sheets. They don't always come with them. It just depends.
They don't all do them.
They don't all do them. So
we've been using netprinter.co.uk, who I think specialise in it, or at least originally specialised in printing plans, like architect plans and that sort of thing. And so they've set up a specific sewing pattern section on their website. Although one little thing that we've noticed, which is a bit cheeky, is that when we were ordering the patterns before, A0 sheets were 75p each, which makes it really very reasonable. You then pay £3 postage, but you pay that for 1 sheet or for 20 sheets. So it's worth saving your patterns up.
Next day delivery as well.
It is,
mostly,
so very quick. We have noticed on their sewing pattern page, the pages are now £1.50 a sheet, and that is a bit cheeky to double the price, but I think it's because some of the sewing patterns are not A0, they're not standard size, they require specific bits of paper. So Seamworks, for instance, they call theirs wide, and they are the width of an A0, but they are about 1.5 times the length.
Yeah.
So obviously that's not going to fit on one A0 sheet. So I think they've done that to cover them so that they can print all different sewing pattern sizes. What I would say, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but do it anyway. If it is an A0 sheet, then just order it under the plan printing and you'll still pay 75p a sheet.
Yeah.
If it is a wide pattern and it is bigger than A0,
So
then do it under the sewing patterns sheet. And you can do that all on the same order.
Yes.
And yeah, we've found that they're brilliant.
Yes.
Then I'll get Nikki to show you her little system
Well,
for how we then store our patterns.
We originally, when we started printing off patterns and things, I would roll them up and I would put a luggage tag on them and write on the luggage tag what it was. But very soon we had so many that it was taking me forever to find anything, and they were getting damaged because there were so many sort of squished into the same box, kind of holding together.
Yeah.
So I decided they were best kept flat. So,
yes. Also, when you roll the paper, depending on how long it's sat there rolled for, it will just constantly want to curl up, curl back into its rolled shape. So you need quite a lot of pattern weights or pins to try and keep it down flat. And on lighter fabrics, the paper can sometimes be strong enough that it can actually make fabric roll up as well.
Takes control.
Yes, takes over.
So what I decided to do is I found these cardboard backed A4 envelopes from eBay, and I'll link underneath where I get them from, and you can buy them in usually lots of 5. So if you want different colours, you can order 5 green ones, 5 orange ones, 5 black ones. But you can also buy a bigger bulk, so you could order like 40 or 100 in one colour. So
which she'll probably do next time because she's getting through that many.
I bought 25 green ones the other day just because we've got so many, and we are getting through quite a lot. But I prefer, because then if they're all where I want them to be and they're all organised, then it doesn't take you any time to find anything.
Yes.
And that's the situation with us.
And this has been the perfect time to do this because whilst I've been having the building work done on my house, I don't have anywhere to store any patterns. So Nikki is currently storing both of our patterns, and they've all been organised into this lovely system, which is great for me. Although when I get my sewing room back, it's going to be a bit like a messy divorce, I think, and we're going to be arguing over whose pattern's whose. So I'm going to be going, I ordered that one, that's my pattern. And she's not going to want to let any of them go. She's going to be saying, but I made them all pretty, so they're mine.
I need proof of purchase. And it's finders keepers as far as I'm concerned. So what I do, once I've got my envelope and once I've got my pattern printed, even if it's just in this printed PDF form, if it's not been stuck together yet, it goes in an envelope. And each pattern has an individual envelope. I go online and get an image of the item and I print that off. And I also print off what it is. So this is the Seamwork Arden. I didn't have any more to say about it than that at this point because it hasn't been stuck together. It hasn't been cut to size. But if I show you another one, let me find another one that has been cut. I always put it on. So sometimes I do. So that's the Maggie shirt, and I've put down size 12 because that's what I've cut. You have your little image so you can remind yourself what it looks like, because I don't have a photographic memory like Rachel does when it comes to patterns, so I couldn't tell you what the Maggie shirt was compared with the Mimi shirt. I couldn't remember which one was which, so I like to have a picture on there so I know what it looks like. And then each pattern has its own little envelope, and then you can open it up and you've got all your little pieces inside which are all cut to size. So we've got quite an extensive selection now, haven't we?
Yes, and I do think that this video has probably been long enough for us to tell you how we do PDF patterns, but I think what we'll do is we will film another video where we will show you,
if you want us to,
everything that's in. Well, let's just do it now, but we'll do it separately.
Shall I show you the box?
We'll show you all of the PDF patterns that we have in our collection.
We'll go through them one at a time.
So hopefully this little video has been useful for you, giving you some tips on how to piece together PDF patterns. If you've got any questions at all, then please do comment below and we'll see if we can help. But we will also put links to the envelopes we use, the printing company that we've started using, the glue that we use, and anything else that we've mentioned that we think might be useful. And if you have a system that you use that's different to ours, that you think we might like, then please comment below, because I'm always open to suggestions of more organisation. Any issues to reorganise it all again.
I might need to buy more stationery.
She's very easily pleased.
I am. Give me a smelly rubber and I'm happy.
Okay, so give us a thumbs up. Well, you heard it here, folks. Give her a smelly rubber and she's happy. Interpret that how you will. We will see you soon for a new video. Bye.
Bye.